Every monument hides a story. Every stone whispers a past. Welcome to History Vault, where history comes alive. Imagine standing on the deck of a crowded ferry, the skyline of New York rising like a dream in the distance, and knowing that the island ahead holds the power to change your life forever. This small stretch of land, nestled between New York and New Jersey, was the first glimpse of America for millions, some hopeful, some fearful, all carrying dreams, stories, and the weight of the world they left behind. Ellis Island was more than a passage. It was a threshold where identities were tested, destinies rewritten, and the foundation of a nation quietly shaped. Every brick, every hole, every echo tells a story of courage, uncertainty, and the relentless pursuit of a new life. The moment the ferry approached Ellis Island, thousands of eyes would widen in awe and anxiety, hearts pounding with the weight of hope and fear. For many, this small island sitting quietly in the shadow of the towering Statue of Liberty was a threshold between the known and the unknown, between the familiar streets they had left behind and the promises of a new life in a strange land. Imagine standing on that deck, the salty breeze biting at your face, the skyline of New York appearing like a distant dream, and knowing that everything you had ever known was now behind you. This was not merely a journey across water. It was a voyage across time, across identity, across destiny itself. Families clutching worn suitcases and fragile documents were about to confront an experience that would define generations to come. As the ferry docked, the first sight of the grand red brick main building of Ellis Island struck many with a strange mixture of relief and intimidation. Its tall windows reflected sunlight like silent witnesses to the countless dreams and despair that had walked through those halls. The island itself seemed alive with whispers of the past. Some say that if you listen closely, you can hear echoes of footsteps long gone, voices in languages both familiar and foreign, a chorus of anticipation, fear, and hope. Every immigrant passing through these gates carried not only their possessions, but also the weight of stories, legends, and the silent prayers of ancestors. The island was not just a physical space. It was a threshold, a liminal world suspended between old life and new. Inside, the air was thick with tension and expectation. Immigrants were ushered into vast rooms where officials, faces stern yet not unkind, inspected papers and asked questions in a language that was sometimes unfamiliar, sometimes just out of reach. Every question carried immense significance. One misstep, one unclear answer, and dreams could be delayed, redirected, or even shattered. Families huddled together, often speaking in whispers, trying to comfort each other while also bracing for the unknown. The waiting halls echoed with murmurs, coughs, and the occasional sob, all interwoven into a tapestry of human emotion that seemed to stretch endlessly. Yet within this anxiety lay a strange thrill, a sense of stepping into history itself, of being part of a living narrative that would shape the future of a nation. Medical inspections added another layer of mystery and trepidation. Doctors moved quickly, with a practiced efficiency that made the process feel almost ritualistic. Children clung to their mothers, men straightened their shoulders, and women tried to hide trembling hands. A faint cough, a small mark on the skin, or a misinterpreted gesture could change everything. Some whispers tell of those who were held back, sent to hospitals on the island, or even deported, becoming part of the untold stories of the countless souls who never set foot beyond Ellis Island. These unseen narratives, often buried beneath official records, give the place an air of haunting, a reminder that every dream of arrival carried a shadow of rejection. Despite the challenges, there was something undeniably magical about the island. It was a point of convergence, where people from Italy, Ireland, Germany, Poland, Russia, and countless other lands crossed paths, their languages blending into mosaic of sounds, their faces reflecting kaleidoscope of human experience. Strangers became companions, and fleeting conversations were etched into memory as shared moments of humanity. For many, the first glimpse of Ellis Island's main registry room, where names were recorded and futures documented, was awe-inspiring. The sheer scale of the operation, the meticulousness of record-keeping, and the hum of activity spoke of an organized chaos designed to welcome, yet test, every newcomer. And yet, beyond the physical inspections and bureaucratic procedures, there was an invisible journey unfolding, a journey of identity, resilience, and transformation. Each immigrant was not just crossing a border, but also stepping into a narrative larger than themselves. The island became a mirror reflecting the duality of America itself, promise and challenge, hope and uncertainty, opportunity, and risk. It was here, on this modest stretch of land between New York and New Jersey, that the essence of a nation was quietly, irrevocably shaped. For international visitors looking back today, Ellis Island still holds a certain mystery. Walking through the same holes where millions once passed, imagining the mix of excitement, fear, and determination, it is easy to feel connected to a shared human story. The island stands as a monument not just to the past, but to the courage it takes to step into the unknown. Every brick, every window, every faded staircase carries a memory of those first steps toward a new life. And while the faces and languages have changed, the spirit of Ellis Island, the liminal, almost mystical space between departure and arrival, remains alive, whispering stories of dreams pursued, risks taken, and lived forever transformed. Ellis Island was far more than a simple immigration station. It was a living heartbeat of America's promise, a place where the nation's ideals collided with the raw realities of human struggle. Between 1892 and 1954, it served as a gateway for over 12 million immigrants, each carrying dreams, fears, and the invisible baggage of their past lives. Walking through the island's holes, one could almost feel the weight of those millions of footsteps, each step echoing the hope of a better life, but also carrying uncertainty, anxiety, and, sometimes, despair. For the immigrants, Ellis Island was the first true test of their journey, a trial not just of documentation or health, but of endurance, identity, and resilience. Many of the immigrants came from lands torn by poverty, war, or political upheaval. They arrived with letters of recommendation, small bundles of belongings, and the fierce determination to survive and thrive. The island's officials, with their clipboards and stern expressions, were not merely gatekeepers of entry, they were arbiters of dreams. Every question asked, every mark recorded, held the power to determine whether someone's story would continue on American soil or be cut short. Some immigrants faced rejection, sent back to the lands they had fled, their hopes dissolved in moments of official decision-making. Yet for those who passed, Ellis Island transformed into a place of rebirth, a threshold where the old world's burdens could be shed, and the possibilities of a new life could begin to take root. The historical significance of Ellis Island extends beyond individual stories. It lies in the transformation of the nation itself. America, often described as a melting pot, drew its strength from this relentless influx of human energy, creativity, and ambition. Every immigrant who stepped onto Ellis Island contributed, in ways large and small, to the social, cultural, and economic fabric of the country. Their labor built cities, fueled industries, and enriched communities. Their traditions, languages, and cuisines became threads in the intricate tapestry of American identity. The island, in this sense, was a crucible, a place where diverse peoples were temporarily separated, observed, and then allowed to merge into the larger narrative of a nation constantly being reinvented. Yet, Ellis Island was not simply a place of order and bureaucracy. It was also a site of mystery, of stories whispered through the walls and corridors. Some visitors claim that the island still carries echoes of the past, fragments of voices, laughter, and tears mingling the air like a ghostly chorus. The registry room, with its high ceilings and endless rows of desks, seems almost sacred, a place where the minutiae of paperwork capture the monumental significance of human lives. It is said that the names recorded there, etched into ledgers and microfilms, are more than records. They are imprints of ambition, courage, and sometimes heartbreak. Each signature, each stamp, is a silent witness to the dreams that shaped America and the sacrifices made to realize them. The island's location itself amplifies its significance. Sitting between New York and New Jersey, with a bustling harbor surrounding it, Ellis Island was strategically positioned at the heart of the nation's entryway. Ships arriving from Europe and beyond would dock at its piers, bringing with them a microcosm of the world. It is easy to imagine the scene. A flotilla of vessels carrying weary travelers, the harbor alive with the sounds of creaking wood, shouting sailors, and anxious passengers scanning the skyline for the first glimpse of the Statue of Liberty, whose shadow casts a promise over the island and over the lives waiting to begin anew. Beyond the physical and logistical aspects, the symbolic significance of Ellis Island cannot be overstated. It embodied the tension between inclusion and exclusion, opportunity and restriction, hope and fear. It reflected the complexities of immigration policies, the biases and challenges of assimilation, and the enduring human drive to seek a better life. The island served as both a literal and figurative gateway, a point where individuals confronted the unknown, negotiated their identities, and stepped into the broader narrative of American society. Even today, Ellis Island resonates with visitors from around the world. The National Museum of Immigration preserves its history with artifacts, photographs, and oral histories that allow one to walk in the footsteps of those who came before. The museum emphasizes not only the procedural aspect of entry, but also the emotional landscapes, the families trembling with anticipation, the children wide-eyed at new possibilities, and the adults weighing the enormity of leaving everything behind. Walking through the same halls, one cannot help but feel connected to the invisible threads of human courage, resilience, and ambition that bind the island's past to the present. Ellis Island, in essence, represents a paradox. It is both a place of scrutiny and a place of opportunity, a site of human vulnerability and extraordinary determination. Its historical significance lies not only in the millions it processed, but in the intangible legacy it created, a testament to the enduring spirit of those willing to cross oceans, confront uncertainty, and embrace a vision of life that transcends borders. In understanding Ellis Island, one glimpses a larger story of America itself, a nation continuously shaped by the people who dared to dream, who risked everything for the promise of something greater, and who left an indelible mark on the land that would become their new home. Stepping onto Ellis Island, one is immediately struck by the presence of the main building, a grand structure that seems to emerge from the past, its red brick walls and soaring windows almost whispering the countless stories that pass through its doors. The building's French Renaissance-style architecture was deliberately chosen to impress, to convey a sense of order, dignity, and authority, but also to create a lasting impression of the seriousness of the journey about to unfold. For the immigrants who first glimpsed this imposing edifice after days or even weeks at sea, the architecture was both awe-inspiring and intimidating, a tangible reminder that they were entering a world that demanded resilience and adaptation. Every detail, from the intricate brickwork to the massive arched windows, served as a silent narrator of history, a visual record of an era that balanced grandeur with function. Inside, the layout of Ellis Island was meticulously designed to handle the immense flow of humanity that arrived daily. Vast waiting rooms stretched endlessly, their ceilings high enough to allow the air to circulate, carrying the murmurs, whispers, and occasional cries of nervous passengers. The registry room, the heart of the island, was an expansive hall filled with rows upon rows of tables where clerks meticulously recorded names, dates, and destinations. Each immigrant was a line in the ledger, a human thread woven into the fabric of America. Despite the rigid structure, the room seemed to hum with life, as if the walls themselves remembered every footstep, every exchanged word, every anxious glance from a mother to her child. The island's architecture was more than functional. It was almost alive, a silent witness to hope, fear, and determination. The halls of Ellis Island were often long and narrow, leading visitors through a series of examinations and inspections that were as psychological as they were procedural. One could sense the tension in the air, the unspoken anxiety that seemed to cling to the corners and stairwells. For the immigrants, navigating the island was not merely a physical act, but a symbolic journey, a passage from the old world into the new. The layout itself, moving from waiting rooms to medical inspection areas to the registry hall, mirrored the emotional arc of the immigrant experience: anticipation, apprehension, evaluation, and finally, acceptance or rejection. The island's design transformed an otherwise overwhelming bureaucratic process into a narrative, guiding each person through a story of challenge and opportunity. Even the exterior of the island contributed to its cinematic quality. Situated in the waters between New York and New Jersey, the island offered views of both the bustling city skyline and the open harbor, a liminal space between departure and arrival. Immigrants could look out across the waves, seeing the Statue of Liberty standing like a silent guardian, and feel both the literal and metaphorical distance between where they came from and where they were going. The piers, where ferries docked and passengers disembarked, were filled with a mix of emotions: relief, trepidation, and a sense of entering history. From a distance, the architecture of the island seemed almost ethereal, a beacon amidst the water, promising safety and opportunity, yet challenging each person to prove their readiness for the world beyond its gates. The medical and legal inspection areas were also carefully designed, their layout intended to facilitate the rapid processing of thousands of immigrants while maintaining an air of solemn authority. Doctors move through long corridors, their steps echoing against polished floors, examining individuals with precision and efficiency. Rooms for quarantine, sometimes hidden from the main hallways, added an element of mystery and quiet fear. Those who were sent to these isolated areas were often uncertain of their fate, creating stories of suspense and human vulnerability that lingered in the collective memory of the island. The architecture, in its careful orchestration of space, rhythm, and movement, turned each step into a narrative beat, emphasizing both the human and historical significance of what was unfolding. Every staircase, hallway, and doorway was more than mere construction. It was part of a larger choreography designed to handle the unpredictability of human emotion, endurance, and circumstance. The island's layout allowed for order amidst chaos, yet it did not erase the individuality of experience. Some immigrants would pass through with ease, their hopes intact and unbroken, while others would encounter obstacles that altered the course of their lives forever. The architectural choices, from the placement of windows to the scale of halls, reflected a balance between functionality and symbolism, turning the island into a stage where countless human dramas played out. Today, walking through Ellis Island, visitors can still feel this sense of orchestration. The building's details, from its ornate staircases to its grand halls, evoke the presence of the past, creating an almost cinematic atmosphere that captures the imagination. Each corner seems to hold a secret, each shadow hinting at stories long untold. The combination of strategic design, breathtaking views, and historical resonance give the island an enduring power to transport anyone who enters, not just through space, but through time. It is a place where history and mystery coexist, where architecture tells a story as vividly as any document, photograph, or artifact. In essence, the design and layout of Ellis Island do more than facilitate immigration. They narrate it. They create a journey that is felt with every step, a rhythm of anticipation, scrutiny, and revelation. They transform a physical space into a living chronicle, where the architecture itself becomes a storyteller, preserving the collective memory of millions of people who dared to dream of a new life. The island remains a symbol of courage and transformation, its buildings and halls standing as silent guardians of the past, inviting every visitor to step into the story and feel the pulse of history that once surged through these walls. Every step across Ellis Island was a step into an unknown world, a world where dream collided with reality, and where the human spirit was tested in ways few could have imagined. For the millions who arrived here, it was not just a point of entry, it was a threshold of possibility, the site where past struggles met future hope. Imagine a family from southern Italy, clutching a single leather suitcase filled with a lifetime of belongings, disembarking from a crowded ferry. The father's hands tremble slightly as he adjusts his hat. The mother's eyes scan the towering building ahead, and the children's faces are filled with both fear and awe. They are surrounded by people speaking dozens of languages, all sharing the same mixture of hope, anxiety, and exhaustion. In these moments, Ellis Island was a living theater of human emotion, each individual playing a role in a story far greater than themselves. Inside the vast halls, personal stories unfolded with an intimacy that transcends history books. A young woman, alone after the loss of her parents, clutched a letter of recommendation from a distant relative, hoping it would secure her passage. A man from Poland, calloused hands betraying years of labor, fidgeted nervously as a clerk asked questions in a language he barely understood. The children wondered, curious and wide-eyed, some laughing nervously, others holding back tears. Every face reflected a journey, a past of hardship and struggle, and a future uncertain yet full of possibility. The human experience here was layered, complex, and profoundly moving, an intricate tapestry of resilience, fear, and aspiration that continues to echo through the halls even today. Medical inspections added a dimension of both suspense and vulnerability. Doctors, moving briskly through the corridors, scrutinized each arriving immigrant with piercing eyes and practiced precision. Children were lifted onto examination tables, mothers held their babies close, and fathers straightened their shoulders in quiet determination. For some, the inspection was brief, almost perfunctory. For others, a single cough, a faint mark on the skin, or even a misunderstood gesture could lead to quarantine or deportation. These moments of tension, of waiting and uncertainty, created narratives that were deeply personal yet universally human. Each interaction carried a weight of fate, turning the ordinary act of crossing a threshold into a story of courage, anxiety, and hope. Beyond the examinations and paperwork, Ellis Island became a place where strangers formed fleeting yet unforgettable connections. People from different regions, religions, and backgrounds huddled together, offering advice, comfort, or simply a reassuring smile. A woman from Ireland might hold the hand of a frightened child from Russia, sharing a wordless understanding of the challenges ahead. Men and women whispered to one another about the promises of America, the streets of New York, and the jobs that awaited them, weaving a network of empathy amidst the chaos. These small acts of human connection created a sense of community in a place defined by its transience, turning anxiety into hope, isolation into shared experience. The registry room, where names were meticulously recorded, symbolized both the power and fragility of identity. Every immigrant had a story, yet many were reduced to a series of questions and written entries. Some names were altered, misspelled, or changed entirely by clerks unfamiliar with foreign languages. These small modifications, often seen as bureaucratic necessities, carry a subtle poignancy. They remind us that the immigrant experience was not just about arrival, but about negotiation with identity itself. Each recorded name represents a personal journey, a legacy of survival and adaptation, and a bridge between the past and the future. Yet even amidst the uncertainty, moments of triumph and joy emerged. Families reunited, siblings embraced after months or years apart, and young immigrants laughed as they ran across the polished floors, momentarily forgetting the weight of their journey. Stories of perseverance, creativity, and ingenuity unfolded in real time. Some immigrants immediately found work in bustling factories, while others navigated the streets of New York to join relatives who had arrived earlier. Every small success, every step towards stability, was a testament to resilience, courage, and determination. For international audiences today, Ellis Island personal stories offer a window into the universal human experience. These narratives transcend geography, language, and time, reminding us of the risks and rewards inherent in the pursuit of a better life. They highlight the courage required to leave the familiar behind, the ingenuity needed to navigate a new world, and the enduring human capacity for hope. Walking through the same halls, imagining these moments, one can almost hear whispers of the past. The soft cry of a child, the hurried instructions of a clerk, the quiet encouragement of a stranger. Each sound, imagined or real, connects us to the millions who pass through, making the experience of history profoundly personal. Ellis Island, in this way, becomes more than a historical site. It becomes a vessel of human memory and emotion. It preserves not just facts and figures, but the very essence of the immigrant experience, the courage, the anxiety, the triumph, and the heartbreak. It reminds us that history is lived, not merely recorded, and that the stories of those who came before continue to shape the world we inhabit today. The island stands as both a monument and a mirror, reflecting the enduring human desire to seek, to strive, and to belong. Ellis Island today stands as a monument to both history and humanity, a place where the past and present intertwine to tell a story that continues to resonate around the world. Walking through its halls, one is immediately struck by the sense of continuity, the invisible threads that link the millions of immigrants who once arrived here to the visitors who now explore museums and exhibitions. The island itself is transformed, but its essence remains unchanged, a gateway, a threshold, a place where human courage, determination, and hope are preserved and celebrated. The architecture, the artifacts, the preserved registry books, and even the worn floors carry the weight of stories that shape not only America, but the very concept of opportunity itself. The legacy of Ellis Island lies not in its bricks and mortar, but in the lives it touched and the nation it helped build. Over 12 million immigrants passed through its doors, each contributing to the economic, cultural, and social landscape of the United States. Their impact can be traced in the industries they fueled, the neighborhoods they formed, and the traditions they maintained. Today, as visitors walk past photographs, personal belongings, and letters displayed in glass cases, they are reminded of the resilience of these individuals, their ability to survive hardship, adapt to a new world, and leave behind a legacy that echoes through generations. Every name recorded in the ship manifest is a testament to the countless small acts of courage that collectively transformed the nation. Beyond the historical facts, there is a profound emotional resonance that makes Ellis Island unique. The museum captures the human dimension of immigration, the tears of farewell, the anxiety of examination, the jubilation of acceptance, and the small triumphs of everyday survival. Exhibits featuring personal narratives, interactive maps, and recreated spaces allow visitors to experience a fraction of the uncertainty, anticipation, and hope that define each immigrant's journey. Walking through these halls, one can almost hear the whispers of the past, the hurried questions of clerks, the muffled sobs of mothers, the laughter of children, and the nervous footsteps of individuals stepping into an unknown world. These sounds, imagined or preserved in memory, connect the modern audience with the lives that once animated the island. Ellis Island also serves as a reminder of the complex history of immigration, the challenges, the triumphs, and the controversies. While it was a gateway to opportunity, it was also a place of scrutiny, of exclusion, and at times, harsh judgment. Not everyone was welcomed. Some were detained or deported, their stories largely unknown, yet integral to understanding the full human narrative of the island. This duality, the promise and peril, adds a layer of mystery to the site, evoking questions about identity, belonging, and the meaning of opportunity. It is this tension that continues to captivate international audiences, offering both inspiration and reflection. Modern visitors to Ellis Island encounter a space that is both educational and deeply moving. The National Museum of Immigration preserves thousands of artifacts, oral histories, photographs, and personal documents, allowing the voices of the past to speak directly to the present. Families trace genealogies, students explore historical contexts, and tourists experience an emotional journey that transcends borders. The exhibits are designed not only to inform but also to immerse visitors in the lived experiences of the immigrants, their fears, joys, struggles, and triumphs. This immersive quality turns Ellis Island into a bridge between eras, a portal through which one can witness the enduring human spirit. The island's significance extends beyond its physical boundaries. It has become a symbol of the broader American narrative, representing ideals of perseverance, diversity, and inclusion. Each immigrant's experience, whether documented or lost to history, contributes to the understanding of America as a nation built by people who dared to dream, risk everything, and redefine what home could mean. The stories preserved here remind us that history is not a static record. It is a living continuum shaped by courage, adaptation, and the relentless pursuit of hope. Even the atmosphere of Ellis Island evokes a subtle sense of mystery. The empty corridors, sunlit registry rooms, and weathered steps seem to hold echoes of the past, as if the millions who walked here left an indelible mark that lingers in the air. It is easy to imagine the whispers of families sharing dreams and fears, the hurried steps of immigrants rushing toward examination rooms, or the quiet conversations of strangers who became companions in a shared moment of transition. This interplay of presence and absence, memory and reality, transforms the island from a static historical site into a dynamic, almost mystical space where past and present coexist. Ultimately, Ellis Island's legacy is one of enduring inspiration. It teaches us about resilience, hope, and the human capacity to overcome adversity. It reminds us that history is not just about events, dates, and records, but about people, their dreams, struggles, and courage. For international audiences, the island offers a universal lesson, that the pursuit of a better life, the willingness to embrace uncertainty, and the courage to start anew are qualities that transcend culture, geography, and time. Ellis Island remains a place where stories are preserved, identities are celebrated, and the spirit of humanity continues to inspire every visitor who steps onto its shores. Today, Ellis Island stands silent, yet alive with the whispers of millions who once passed through its halls. Its legacy is etched not just in records or artifacts, but in the courage, resilience, and dreams of those who dared to step into the unknown. Walking through its corridors, one cannot help but feel the heartbeat of history, a reminder that every journey of hope leaves an indelible mark, shaping the world for generations to come. Ellis Island is more than a monument. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity and the timeless pursuit of a life reborn. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to History Vault, your gateway to the past.